Yo! Back again about an hour later. So, part 1.2 of What If Deku was in Danmachi with the 7 deadly sins skills. Damn, that didn't want sound to come out. Okay, so in the last part, I ended it off briefly at him entering the dungeon and being shown how to fight. I know that skills grow depending on the user themselves. Stats, I mean. So, just to clarify one thing about Deku. Yeah, his stats were low. Like anyone would when they just get the blessing, though a bit stronger than normal people. Like, only reason he really was able to fight was purely based on luck itself, with the wolves basically just not being able to kill him, or hurt him that much to be precise. So yeah. So, first off, the moment Deku basically was able to get into the dungeon, he was told to be very careful of every monster. So yeah, that was basically the first point. Be back in a sec. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah. So, the adventure, which I'm not going to say a name, because even though... Sorry about that. Okay. Even though he is going to be in the Familia where he is going to get to, he is not going to be from the main cast. So, obviously, I'm doing it like that so that I don't spoil where he's going to go, since it would be really fucking annoying. So yeah, they fight the first type of mob, which, if I remember correctly, are like goblins or stuff like that. And basically, Deku is shown how to kill some, and then told to try and use the dagger or the sword to actually kill them. He was told to use his speed, basically, and to not push himself too hard. Which Deku basically... Yeah, he killed the first wolf, but that was mostly out of, well, pure adrenaline and need. Second one, he was mostly just trying to help someone, so once again, he basically didn't think about it, that he was killing something. But this time, it was more humanoid, which basically put his body kind of on hold a bit, and not being sure if he was able to kill them. The adventurer told him that if he wants to be an adventurer, he needs to learn to kill. So, Deku basically, over the course of a few hours, kind of trains himself, tries to kill them without hesitating, and in those few hours, he only killed 5 of them, Mostly because of hesitation, which means they were going to kill him, and that the adventurer basically killed them before that. Deku was told that he will only be able to keep the stones that he killed from the monsters that he killed himself. So he basically had no choice. He was able to kill 5, but still wasn't completely ready in his mindset. So for the first 2, he basically felt sick a bit. The other 3 were less bad, but still meh. And so they went back up. When they arrived at the place where they exchanged stones and items for cash, they basically got, well, the adventurer got a good amount, while they only had 5, which is still good for someone who just got down into a dungeon, and someone who's not that strong. So, the adventurer told him that for the next week he's going to do that with him, go down in the dungeon and come back up later. After that, he's going to be on his own, training and everything. So, to basically prepare himself correctly. So, for the next week, that happened until a certain event. A goblin that was a bit stronger than normal that Deku was going to face, as well as a lot more goblins that what should be there, making the adventurer basically be stuck with those while Deku was fighting the first one, the stronger one. While Deku was fighting, that one didn't just feel stronger, it was just different, completely. Which scared Deku a lot. But at one point, Deku started feeling rage inside of him. The adventurer was telling him to calm himself and not to do rash movements, but while Deku was getting angrier and angrier, something happened. First, his movement became faster. Then his strikes became sharper and stronger. His speed was augmenting, but not only that, but he was also feeling and seeing stuff as if they were in a bit more of a slow motion. So Deku wasn't actually aware of what was happening, but the adventurer was seeing something happen to Deku. With his body changing, black marks appearing on his body. They didn't know it, but Deku actually activated the 2 first skills he had. The first one was from the 7 Deadly Sins series, the Rat skill. Rage was building up in Deku and basically activated it. This skill gives Deku a 2 times boost to all of his stats, and if he keeps getting angrier and angrier, his stats steadily increases afterward for a while until the skill stops or that he passes out. The extra skill that comes from Wrath, basically an extra skill, is that when Deku obtains a 7 Deadly Sins skill, there is another skills that come with it. In particular, this one is called Demon Blood. Demon Blood basically transforms Deku's body temporarily, turning him partially into a demon. For now, it's basically the first time he activated it, and his body didn't change fully. All he had were black marks on his body, and his eyes turned from green to red. Oh, irises turned from green to red. So only the adventurer saw that, and he was surprised because a human without a blessing shouldn't have a skill. But clearly, he had one. Basically, Deku's strength right now is actually 4 times what he should have in... Well, his stats are 4 times stronger. Basically, the rat skill is a 2 times boost. And then there's the Demon Blood skill that, when activated, is also a 2 times boost. So, 2 times 2 equals 4, and basically that's his stats right there. A powerhouse, basically, against a simple goblin. Though this one was stronger, so he still put up a good fight, but Deku was able to win, killing him quite fast. After that, the adventurer was able to finish off most of the other goblins, with Deku coming in to help with the rest, with him still being angry and having the Demon Blood skill activated without his knowledge. Basically, when Rat skill activates, it's when he's angry. Like, anytime he's angry. It's basically a passive skill, kind of. So, it's not him that decides to activate it, unless he purposefully makes himself angry. So, it's basically just something that he could have all the time, so passive, but that is decided by his rage. While the Demon Blood, he needs to think of activating it, but he doesn't need to think Demon Blood skill to activate. He just needed to think that he needs to be stronger, or he wants to transform into it once he knows that he has it. Which doesn't actually make sense for most types of skills, since even magic, and since most magic or skill that are active skills need to have their name being said, if I remember correctly. But both of those skills, well, one is a passive skill, the other one is active, but Deku doesn't need to say them, which is funny. When the adventurer is able to calm him down, firstly, the black marks disappeared from Deku, and he became exhausted. Firstly, because he used way more stamina than what he should have, and second, because while his stats were higher, he used the stamina from that as well, so when they got back down, well, he was kind of out. Still conscious, but he didn't have a lot left in him. So they took the gems and basically went back up, with someone seeing, well, Deku only being hurt. The other one basically didn't really have to be scared from them. Yeah, they were attacking him, but they weren't actually doing damage. Or at least not enough. So, they basically asked what happened, and the adventurer basically just said that there was a goblin that was way too strong. As if it was training, or that it killed multiple people. Which shouldn't happen unless newbies basically got in and basically got caught by surprise. So, yeah, Deku was able to kill it, which surprised everyone, with him asking to talk to, well, specifically the receptionist that helped Deku. He told her that the kid had a skill. It augmented his power. Like, black marks appeared on his body, he got stronger, faster, and basically was able to kill him. Killed the goblin after a bit. So, she was surprised, he was surprised, and they basically decided to kind of play with the idea that he could go in the dungeon by himself. He is strong enough to fight. Like, in itself, he looks more like someone who has a blessing than anything else, which they don't actually know that he kind of has, but not that much. His stats are all in the lowest case, obviously, since he is in his weakest state right now, but still, like, some of his stats did pass 100, but nah, only like 2 of them, agility being one of them. So yeah, everyone was still pretty much surprised to hear that, yeah, no, this kid was able to kill the goblin even though he doesn't have a blessing. Well, a stronger goblin while he didn't have a blessing. So they were surprised. When leaving, the adventurer did tell him that it was his last day training him, and that unless they see each other in the dungeon or outside, he won't try to find him. He told him good luck and left. Not long after that, the receptionist basically grabbed him and told him that she'll allow him to go down in the dungeon, on the condition that he hides his face and hair since they're so unusual, because people will start to ask questions. She told him to make a show of not coming back that much, and that every time he actually goes down, he needs to hide his face, because someone without a blessing being this strong will bring up questions. As well as many people basically going to force him to be in their familia if that gets heard, because, well, obviously, if he's this strong without the blessing, how strong will he be once he gets it? So, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, this was basically the point where I wanted to end it in the first one. So yeah, hope you liked it. Leave a like if you did, and my Discord is going to be in the description. But yeah, so see you next time, tomorrow or the day after that. Later.